All right. What is
What?
going on? I had a little bit of a back spasm there. So, full disclosure, I am dealing with a little bit of a back situation. So, I ran to
Could have
my
said something.
I ran to my chair and I went to
Yeah.
sit down really quickly. And as I straightened up, it was like a second before we actually went live, and my back spazzed, and I felt a little bit in the back there.
Well, because
Oh man.
like behind the scenes while the intro's happening, like you do always get up, you do like a wardrobe change, and I'm looking and like there's no one in the chair, and I'm like he'll be back, and the intro's just about done, and I'm like he's still not back.
Yeah,
So well,
I cut it close sometimes. I cut it close
that you
sometimes.
did, yeah. Well, like you're good.
All right. Well, I'm gonna send this
Could be worse.
invitation.
You could be late to a podcast that doesn't start for another 35 minutes. Yeah,
I would never do that. Who
yeah.
does
I
that?
mean, I would
Me?
today.
That wasn't me, was it?
No, it was me. You told me I was
Oh,
late. Yeah.
yeah, no, no. Well, sometimes you're late. You're usually pretty good though at getting here on time.
Yeah.
So while we had three people now here in live on YouTube, we're rolling in. We got some people coming in. We are going to do another mock draft. We're going to continue the mock drafts live the rest of the week, just because this is mock draft. This is rookie draft week, right? And so we are going to try to do as many variations of these drafts, give as much context as we can, answer questions for people. We think it's been pretty valuable, and we appreciate you guys joining in and answering or asking those questions. I did just send in the link to the mock draft, so if you want to get in, that link is in there. And we'll start once we fill up. Getting the shareable link, posting it out there so that people can join. But outside of that, Hoff, do you want to send that link in our group chat too? So that way we can also get some people in there that way.
Yeah, let me do that. Hold on a second now. Let me see that. Oh, I'll pop it there on the screen. Yeah. No, I'll get it. Give me a second.
Okay, cool. And I'll push this out on socials, but as we do that, Hoff, why don't you tell me while we kill some time here, what's going on with the 49ers and Brock Purdy? When's that deal getting done?
That's gonna happen soon. That was the reports. The reports were once things finished up with George Kittle, which they did, even though Diana Taurasi said that they are very far apart. Somehow he is signed.
Diana Taurasi. Who the fuck is Diana Taurasi? Rossini?
Rossini, sorry, Taurasi Rossini. That's how low she is on my end. I don't even know the last name well enough. But yeah, so be that as it may, Kittle signed. That was what they wanted to do first. They said that before the season even ended, they wanted to extend Kittle. That was well known. Now that's over. Now they'll get to the real meat and the potatoes, and that is probably begrudgingly is giving Brock Purdy that 50 million per year, which people are gonna say he doesn't deserve it. He's not worth it. I understand, but that's the quarterback market. That's how it goes. At some point in time, Jimmy Garoppolo was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. It's an unavoidable sort of thing when your quarterback has to get paid. And Pete, I hope for your Broncos' sake, I hope you're lucky enough to have to experience that in a couple of years. Because that would mean that Bo Nix did. No, I'm saying because that would mean that Bo Nix has been incredible. If you get to that point, that means you guys have done well. So what you do with it in that time span, like we talked about it off air, that's why the Niners should have won when they had the chance. If you guys have that opportunity, make sure you do it. But hopefully you're in that same spot where you have to pay a quarterback that much money. But Brock Purdy will get paid. He'll be there. It sounds the farthest from being contentious on any kind of level. So if Diana Rossini or a Diana Taurasi, if one of them
Taurasi.
emerges,
Taurasi's a good, it's an Italian name at least. So at least
yeah,
he kind of matched up on the on the background there, the
well,
ethnicity, nationality, whatever you want to call it.
if either Diana with that last name comes out and says that Brock Purdy's far apart from the Niners, he's probably not. I'm not worried
Yeah.
about it at all.
So what I will say is this: number one, before we continue, we do have a decent amount of people already here in the draft. I have the 7 spot. I don't see you, Hoff. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5
It
teams.
should be 9.
6. Yeah, for some reason it took me off and it took you off. Now someone actually just took 9, Chris Sons.
All right.
Albert is in the chat too. Albert, if you want to join, we just sent the sleeper link in the chat as well. We got Slashy as well taking the 108. So we're filling up pretty quickly here. Hoff, you
I
better
must be in a different draft, man.
Are you serious?
I swear to God. Did you make more than one? Because
All right,
there's
here.
one draft. There's one draft where it's just the 2 of us.
All right, well, I just sent the link again.
This
Let's
fucking
hope, let's
guy,
hope that you get in
man.
there. I just sent the link in our. Let me DM it to you too, so you have it. Well, I tweeted it too. I tweeted it. So
I'm literally here. Yeah, there's like 2
I
of us.
tweeted the
there.
link. I tweeted the link.
All right, this fucking guy, man.
Dude, let me see. Fuck. We might fill up before you get in there. I'm gonna maybe I have to kick somebody. I just sent it to you again. I think we're good. We're slowing down. Oh, there you are. All right, you got the 104. Perfect.
I
Let's
don't want the 104, but I'll take it. I'll take the 110.
You take the one. Yeah, you take the 110. Take the 110. I'll take the 107. All right, so we have 5 spots left. What else do we want to talk about here? The draft is over. Why don't we talk about some guys while we kill some time here? Why don't we talk about some guys that survived the NFL draft at the veteran, position? Biggest name is Chase Brown. It seems to be the most common guy that gets brought up. And honestly, I actually, I thought they were going to invest in the position a little bit higher. They bring in Taj Brooks, which Taj Brooks is pretty good. And honestly, Taj Brooks is 220 pounds. He's actually a good spell for Chase Brown in terms of skill set wise. This is a strong guy, good at getting low to the ground, strong legs. And so it kind of matches pretty well, with Chase Brown's skill set in terms of that. So Matt said, say it one. I don't know what that means, but
probably saying say it more, I would imagine.
Say it more. Okay. Well,
why would you say it one?
Yeah. So somebody just moved. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 4. Oh no, somebody just took the 106. So we got 4 spots left. So if people are still interested and you're watching live, we got 8 here on YouTube. The link is in the chat. I'm going to send it one more time. We are running out of spots here. We got 4 spots. We'll probably draft twice on this live. And then we'll get out of here. But I mean, I think Chase Brown was a big winner. I think Courtland Sutton was a winner too, because, I wasn't expecting Denver to draft a receiver high. I thought it was a possibility, and I tried to read the tea leaves, and it sounded like there was a possibility based on the top 30 visits. But overall, I think it was pretty obvious. It was probably running back in the first round or defensive tackle. And, they ended up taking Jahdae Barron. But Courtland Sutton is a big winner. I think we can probably expect him to get a contract extension sometime soon, because they didn't really heavily invest in the position. And even before the draft, it sounded like, Courtland Sutton was a guy that, likely was going to get a contract extension at some point soon and wanted a contract extension. Albert just joined the group, the draft. There we go.
It should be noted, by the way, if Matt is watching, listening, we assume he is based on the mediator's comment. You are in the one random draft where it's just me, you, and Pete sitting there with our
how is that
there with our dick in our hands? It's right there, man. I'm telling you.
How is that possible though? How did everybody else get into the right one, but Matt didn't?
Oh, that part I don't know. But if I got to talk about a winner for me, somebody who kind of came out unscathed, and I get it. People roll their eyes at this. He's not going to be drafted. He's going to go undrafted. And yeah, he might very well go undrafted. But Brenton Strange to me, the Jaguars did not draft a tight end. If they bring in an undrafted free agent, okay, fine, so be it. Brenton Strange is going to be a surprise. If you're one of those guys who says, I don't want to draft a tight end, I'll draft one late. I'll worry about it later. I'll just take one before I leave, which there's guys that do it, and it works well for him. Brenton Strange is going to be that guy you're going to want to have on certain weeks. He's going to do well. Last I checked, they had a pretty solid strength of schedule, that being the Jacksonville Jaguars against tight ends. And you look at what Liam Cohen has done with tight ends his 2 years as being offensive coordinator. Obviously, we saw what Kate Otten did. He had success with the Rams as well. So I think it, and I get the notion of, well, now there's Travis Hunter there too. More than fair. But if defenses are paying attention to Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter, maybe that leaves Brenton Strange open. I'm just saying, if you're streaming the position, Strange is going to be a good option. And buckle up, Buttercup. I'm probably going to say it all summer long. So, and I'll be playing him in DFS. He's going to be dirt cheap in DFS. Sorry.
Well, he had 53 targets last year, which is not bad at all for a guy that this was pretty much his first time being in a quote unquote heavy workload spot. We did get PPR fantasy tips in here. That's one of my buddies. Big account on Twitter. So if you're not following him, go ahead and give him a follow. We got 2 more spots left. It's the 111 and the 112. So back at the end of the draft, I would say one of the, Albert brings up DeAndre Swift, and I'm gonna touch on that in a second. But I do also think Jalen McMillan is a huge loser.
Yes,
it is crazy to think about Jalen McMillan's offseason. This is a guy who was going decently high in startup drafts, and before Chris Godwin ended up being signed, Chris Godwin signs an extension, and then now they draft a first round rookie wide receiver in the top 20. I mean, his value took a massive hit, and this is a guy that could have been had for a 111, 112, early on in the offseason before Godwin was hurt, because people were banking and buying into it. I mean, he had multiple 2-touchdown games. So Jalen McMillan is a huge loser. By the way, we do have one more spot left. Your thoughts on Jalen McMillan? Then I'll talk DeAndre Swift, and then we'll go ahead and probably start this because we have one spot left.
Yeah. Hey, Debbie. How you doing? We see Debbie there in the chat. How you doing, Debbie? No, I mean, McMillan to me, huge loser. I don't see a way, especially this year, in which he's going to be able to come out and give any kind of production. Not with Amika there. It's just, I know Mike Evans is getting older, but that doesn't necessarily Mike Evans isn't going to get targets all of a sudden. He's still going to go for 1,000 yards like he does every year. Chris Godwin did very well. He was one of the best wide receivers in fantasy up until his injury. They were actually the only team in the NFL in, what was it, the first 7 weeks, I believe, when Godwin got injured on that Monday night game against, I believe, the Ravens. They were the only team in the NFL.
Time. It was in garbage time when the game was pretty much over.
Yeah, but they were the only team at that time in the NFL to have 2 wide receivers in the top 12 in terms of fantasy production. So those guys aren't going to go anywhere. So to me, absolutely biggest loser by far.
Yeah.
Bit of a shame, to me, at least.
No, I agree. I actually like Jalen McMillan a lot, so it is tough. I want to talk about DeAndre Swift while we're killing some time, because we do have one more spot left. But DeAndre Swift, I'm just pulling up some recent trades on Dynasty Daddy, and really good free service. Dynasty Daddy, if you don't use them, it's a really good free service. They pull all of Sleeper's trades. We did just get somebody to join the draft. So, as Tyler, I'm about to start at beginning 1 second, I have seen, if you look at DeAndre Swift, his value 206. I've seen him go for a 204. I would trade Swift for a 204 because I think Nick Chubb is inevitable to end up
Yeah, I think
getting,
so too.
brought into this room. But
He's going somewhere.
yeah, I think it seems very, very likely. Um, Everybody wants me to start this, so let me go
Yeah.
ahead and
People saying, "Let's go." All
pull that
right,
up.
jeez.
And
And just
oh,
because in honor of Tyler joining the draft as the last guy, I am going to watch Fight Club after this with one Tyler Durden. So just for you, Tyler.
look at that,
Cheers.
beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we're good there. And then I
You,
want to see.
you think the other draft that you set up that nobody went into? You think that filled up yet?
No, I deleted it.
No.
So me and Hoff, as we get to our picks, we'll take a little bit of time to talk about it. But in this draft, we see Genty, Hunter, Hampton, McMillan, Henderson, Cam Ward likely here at the 106, I would think. But the biggest thing at this point in drafts is, where does Travis Hunter go? I've seen Travis Hunter go at the 105, 106. I see him go as high as the 1-2 very often. People are very split on Travis Hunter, and it's one of those things where, how high do we buy into a player? I'm going to take Cam Ward here at the 1-7. I mean, it's insane that in
Yeah.
a super flex that he falls here. If I was in a league and Cam Ward fell at the 107, I'd be pretty damn happy in a super flex to get Cam Ward. But overall, I think the discourse around Travis Hunter, I mean, my feelings have been made. I've said it a bunch of times, but I'm a Tet over Hunter guy right now. I was that pre-draft process. I love the landing spot for Tet McMillan now. I think this wide receiver room is wide open for targets. And Bryce Young, for what it's worth, I mean, Ted McMillan was very successful on dig routes last year and going over the middle. And I mean, Bryce Young was actually really good at throwing over the middle this year.
It
Brock
was.
Purdy like. And I don't know. I mean, I think Tet's in a good situation. I think he has a true chance to be the number one in his offense. And I'll keep pounding the table for Tet, and I'll eat the crow if Tet isn't the right pick here over Hunter. But to me, I just don't know how we got so far away from Tet being the guy in this draft. People seem to sour on him pretty quickly, and I'm not really sure exactly what happened. But I'm good with Tet there, getting him at the 104. I like him over Hunter still.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I dig it, and I'm slowly venturing your way in terms of that. We'll see how the summer unfolds there, but I end up going Tyler Warren here with the 10th pick in the first round. We talked about this off air. You look at the quarterback situation in Indianapolis. I get it; it's not great. It's not the best. It's damn near frightening, but it wasn't great last year with the Raiders. The Raiders, I don't think, had a top 12 quarterback until maybe week 12. And Brock Bowers turned out to be one of the better fantasy tight ends in the season. Now, I'm not telling you that Tyler Warren's going to be Brock Bowers, but what I am telling you is that you don't always need to panic about the quarterback position when you're talking about a tight end, because sometimes when you have a bad quarterback or a young quarterback, the best friend is a tight end. So I think Tyler Warren benefits here. I like him over Loveland. Pete, you and I talked about this. I mean, Loveland is in a nice spot, but he's also in a nice spot with a lot of other mouths to feed, where it's not as grave of a situation in terms of targets as it is for Warren. So I'll
Yeah.
take Warren there. I feel like the more I sit back at this back end of the draft, the more I end up with a Tyler Warren, but I'll take it here.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it, but I had Warren over Loveland. There were people out there that had Loveland over Warren pre-draft, and that's fine. I mean, people are going to have their opinions. There's nothing wrong with preferring Loveland over Warren. Loveland, the NFL preferred him over Warren. I mean, he got picked ahead of him. But I think overall, there's concern about Anthony Richardson, and I think those are valid concerns. there was a decent amount of targets in this Colts offense to the tight end position. And I mean, I think they've been dying for, you know, dying to find a tight end in this offense for a
Oh
while.
God, forever. It's probably
Yeah.
since Dallas Clark.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a situation where, you know, you look at Loveland, how many targets are there to go around? 3 wide receivers last year had 100 targets. Then you have Cole Kmet, who just signed an extension. I just I don't know. I mean, I just I'm not sold on Loveland this year. And you could have concerns about Tyler Warren this year as well with Anthony Richardson, but there's a chance that there's two ways to look at it. Richardson has a bad year and likely they ship out everybody, coaching staff's gone, and they bring in a new quarterback, right? And if that's the case, okay, fine, red shirt year for him. But Loveland, I mean, is he in an amazing situation year one too? I mean, he's going to be
No.
fighting for targets from a lot of guys. So to me, I mean, I'm not expecting a ton from either guy. I think Warren's likely going to get somewhere around 50 to 65 to 70 targets. And I'm fine with that. I mean, are they going to all be quality? No, but targets to the tight end are usually different than targets to the wide receiver.
Yeah.
In that, like, the targets to the tight end are usually more open, if that makes sense. Whereas receivers tend to be more contested, and tight ends end up being better at contested catches because they're like basketball players. They box out really well. And overall, I think if it's a redshirt year for Loveland and Warren, give me the better player. And I think at the end of the day, it's Warren. But before we move on, I go 207. Hoff is up now. I go at the 207. I take Tootin. I think this is a coaching staff in Jacksonville that takes a running back, and Liam Cohen loves to target the position. I mean, we saw last year 50 plus touches for both Rashad White and Bucky Irving in that offense. I don't expect things to change. I'm more concerned about Tank Bigsby and or Travis Etienne, and I think it's really Tank Bigsby odd man out. I think unless Tank Bigsby really fucking comes in strong into camp, I think it's Travis Etienne's job to lose as the 1B to Tootin, as they both kind of split that role. So
Was this tight end premium?
no.
Good. I shot myself right in the dick. So there you go. Yeah. I went fan. Yeah. Yeah. So whatever. Maybe I can flex them. Anyway, the point being was I was going to say, in terms of you talking about Loveland, I mean, the Bears were the only team last year to have 3 wide receivers get over 100 targets. Only team in the NFL. Now, yeah, does that change with Ben Johnson? Sure. But the problem still remains is the guys are still there to get the targets. So it still presents a problem for Loveland. In terms of Fannin, I mean, listen, whatever. We'll see how this draft shakes out. It's not tight end premium. That's fine. This is more so just for podcasting purposes and helping people out. But I will say, Coach says a lot. Our own coach there with the mediators says that Fannin's not a good blocker. Doesn't believe in him. I get it completely. But there have been tight ends who are not great blockers who find teams in situations in which they excel. There's certain offenses in which a tight end is needed to block along with catching. That's why Mike Gesicki didn't last very long in Miami once Mike McDaniel got to town. So if Fannin can't block, but if Fannin fits into what Stefanski wants to do, I think it'll be okay. So I'm not really worried about it. But we'll see if it really affects him that much. We'll find out. But I really don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I don't hate the landing spot for Fannin. I'm big on Mason Taylor was my guy pre-draft. I have Ferguson as my tight end 3 now, ahead of Mason Taylor. I've adjusted a little bit. I love Ferguson's landing spot in LA. I think Fannon's high risk, high reward. You're risking, can he block? Can he get better there, or is he going to be put in the slot? Which with Njoku, we saw Njoku play in the slot a ton. As Njoku's a good blocker too. Don't get me wrong, but I think Fannon's, that's the biggest concern is the blocking. He's a good athlete. If he gets the ball in his hands, he can make some things happen. Now, I do want to get some questions here. Aaron Thomas says, would you go DJ Giddens or Devin Neal for your third rookie draft? I personally, I would go with Devin Neal. I do like DJ Giddens just because Jonathan Taylor is on a contract that I believe he could get moved easily after this year. After this season, $2.562 million dead cap hit if they moved on from Jonathan Taylor. And 26 years old for Jonathan Taylor. So I'm interested in DJ Giddens. I think DJ Giddens, you can probably get late third, early fourth, depending on the league that you're in. But I prefer Neal just because he's behind Alvin Kamara, who's a little bit older. But the problem with Alvin Kamara is his contract's a little bit harder to move. So that would be my thoughts there. And then we have Jacob Cronin says, anyone tell Pete he's done a good job today? Don't tell Hoff that, because I don't think he thinks that. I don't think that he thinks my head can get any bigger these days.
Well, it's getting pretty big, man.
But give me 1 second. I will be right back. Hoff, you take over.
Yeah, well, Pete's trying to see if his head is that big that he can't fit out of the door. I'm just kidding. All right, so we're going through this draft here. Let's see where we are at. We're actually one pick away from Pete, so we'll see when he comes back. But Jalen Milroe goes with the third pick of the 5th round here. We did see a bit of a run on tight ends, me blundering and taking 2 tight ends in the first 2 rounds in a league that's not a tight end premium. So there goes that. That's fun. Tyler goes with Mason Taylor. Shador Sanders was a guy I was going to take. I will say this, whether it's rookie drafts, whether it's best ball drafts, I've always loved to draft at the back end of a round. I hate it now. And I'm not even talking about how this isn't Snake. Pete's on the clock with 30 seconds left. Looks like he's sitting down. He'll be right back with us. But I hate picking in the back of these drafts more and more and more. I'm probably gonna aim at a lot of my best ball drafts. Pretty God, I picked towards the first half because I do not like how these shake out. We'll see if we do another draft after this. But see, much like I go with 2 tight ends, Pete goes with 2 quarterbacks. So we'll see what he says about that. But yeah, I'm about a pick away here after Tyler Shaw, who goes over there to Pete, who's got Cam Ward already. We see Matt take Devin Neal, and it's now my turn. I mean, I don't think I could physically go with another tight end. I don't even think there's one I really want anymore. Pete, you're back. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, Arroyo goes off the board, right? So,
Yep.
Right in front of you. I don't think you can go tight end there, right? I mean, I think an interesting guy that's starting to kind of steam up a little bit. You have Jaden Blue for the Cowboys in a pretty wide open room. That's not a bad guy to look at if you're in this spot. I mean, I've seen Jaden Blue go as high as the 212. So I think Jaden Blue is not bad if you're looking in this area and he's available. I'm trying to think. There was somebody else. Jarquez Hunter, interesting name as well. Restrepo, I'm not as high on, but you're losing time here. Yeah. Oh, well, you went Restrepo. There you go.
Yeah.
I think Jarquez Hunter goes to the Rams. Interesting landing spot for him. Restrepo is interesting too because look, he didn't get drafted, but he lands with Cam Ward. And that's his college teammate. And this is a tight Tennessee room that's dying for anybody to step up. It's not very.
I mean, there's names there, but it's not. It's not a depth chart that cannot be cracked. I should say that.
Yeah. James, who's been a staple as of lately, a little bit of a newer name as opposed from last season to this season.
I've seen you when I've been in the chat, James. I've seen you.
Yeah, he says you're on the clock. Who do you take, Burden, Trey Harris, or Higgins?
I'm like
I mean,
Trey Harris more and more.
yeah, I was gonna say Trey Harris for me too. I think I was a huge Jaden Higgins fan. I still like Jaden Higgins. I think it's a fine landing spot. It depends on your expectations for year one, but that receiver room between Nico and Christian Kirk has had issues staying healthy. Both of those guys. Nico Collins hasn't played a full season in the NFL once yet, and Christian Kirk, and both guys have missed 20 games over the last 2 years. But Trey Harris comes from Ole Miss, play action heavy offense. Goes to the Chargers, another play action heavy offense. I love the fit. I think it's going to be a really good spot. We saw Quentin Johnston have 70 targets his last season. I don't see a world where, where Trey Harris can't replicate that for sure. So that's kind of where I sit there.
And you're on the clock, good sir.
I am, and I'm getting frustrated with sleeper these days because Jarquez Hunter does go, by the way. I'm getting frustrated with sleeper these days because I just wish they would allow us to import our rankings because it's so hard. I got to scroll down. Guys that I like are really far down.
That's what I'm saying. Some of these, you don't set up these drafts like Matt does. Matt sets them up good. You set them up like shit. Just saying.
I don't love this. I don't love it, but
and I'm not just saying that because Matt's backstage hiding. I'm saying that because it's real.
I'll go with Dylan Sampson. I don't really love it, but I'll go with Dylan Sampson. Lands in Cleveland, backing up Judkins. I'm fine with it. But I'm not in love with this with picking him. But at this point, if Dylan Sampson falls this far to the 4-7, that's fine. A lot of guys, sneaky guys, go ahead of me here. Jarquez Hunter, Jaden Blue, DJ Giddens. Most drafts, Jaden Blue is not going to fall to the fourth round, guys. Jarquez Hunter, I've seen is starting to get some third round love. Matt's guy, Taj Brooks, finds himself third round, 11th overall, which is valid behind Chase Brown. And yeah, I mean, Dylan Sampson falling behind all these guys seems kind of crazy. So I'm willing to take Sampson there, who goes round 4 behind Judkins in that offense. And Hoff with a sneaky pick. Takes Tesla. The Detroit Lions trade 3 third-round picks to go get him. So I like that pick for sure.
That man. Back-to-back days of rookie drafts and back-to-back days of taking them. So feeling good about it. Yeah. I will say, I think if we're in a regular, I don't think he lasts that long. I mean, maybe he does, I guess. 4th round. Yeah. All right. Fine. But I'll take him. I like it. You talked about the draft capital that was traded to get him. Yeah. Just makes all the sense in the world.
No, 100%. And honestly, he's a guy that flies under the radar. You want to talk about the fact that Sleeper doesn't share guys. I didn't even see him when I picked Dylan Sampson. Like, it's just like when you're on the clock and time starts running out, it's tough.
You're also talking about an app that probably still has Rob Gronkowski going out in drafts. So, yeah. Take that for what you will.
No, I agree.
We're not promoting Sleeper, are we? That would be awkward.
We're not promoting Sleeper.
Good.
What I will say is I'm sending the chat so they know that we're live. The chat drafted, Lions reached. I'm not gonna lie, James. I think it was a reach too pretty fucking nuts to give up that many third round picks to get Tesla.
You can't disagree with that.
But Matt is here. Matt, what's going on, buddy?
Oh man,
nothing much, brother. Nothing much. How are we doing?
Good.
This must be weird for you. You're recording a podcast and it's not 8:30 at night. How you doing?
It's weird. It's early. We want to start later.
Yeah, you can go hit the gym after this. It's so early.
There you go.
So
hit the gym, hit the couch, whatever works.
Hey, we do something. Alec Boehmhoff with a home run, by the way.
Good. I don't fucking care. Good.
So we're on the board, the Phillies. 2-run homer. Oh no, sorry, it wasn't a home run. It was just an RBI.
Who is the player, actually, really quick? I meant to text you this. I know this is a fantasy football podcast. The guy who got stepped on, which guy was that?
Bryson Stott.
Is he all right?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah, there you go.
Thankfully, he's good. So we're gonna do another draft. We have 17 people here in the chat. Give us a thumbs up, guys. We would appreciate that. And Matt, since you're the odd man looking in, since you weren't with us live, is there anything? Is there any reaches on this board? Is there anything that you like value wise?
Besides me taking two tight ends when it's not tight end premium. Besides that,
I'm going to give Hoff a pass. I'm going to give him a pass. If it were tight end premium, then you did fine. I think
Matt loves Harold Shannon Jr. To be fair, so you're asking the right person. You're asking the right person.
You're right. You are asking the right person. But I think Dart at the 204 is incredible value. If it's a super flex league, they made the first round draft investment. Maybe it's a longer term play, but I love that move, especially if I'm a rebuilding team. I can't tell you how many teams I had where I drafted JJ McCarthy and Michael Penix in this exact situation, and it's worked out great for me. I flipped Penix for some pretty significant assets in the offseason, so I like that move by Albert. If I'm looking for a reach on the board, I think Sanders at the 212. I mean, I get it, though. I think there is some value there.
Somebody put a poop emoji. Somebody put a poop emoji. I didn't even know I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, bottom right.
I didn't know you could do. Is that a thing? How do I do that now?
What, on the old YouTube?
Yeah, I see it, but what do I? That's just that throws him up. How does he
do it when the pick is made?
Oh, all right. We're pooping. All right, we're pooping.
Oh, I guess I pooped on him. Yeah, I see, because that was the last one, and I put poop out. Okay.
What a shithead. Right.
You can only poop emoji after it happens. Okay, that's fair enough. James is a veteran here.
Okay.
He said that these drafts all weird, Hoff.
Is there? So let me ask you this, because I took Jalen Royals in a draft that me and you were in, Matt. Similar spot, actually. I took him at the 3, 6, or 7, somewhere around there. Do you like Jalen Royals? Because I'm not gonna lie. Again, sometimes I get a little overzealous and I want to take my pick because it's slow clock and I've been waiting forever, and I go. But Alec Manor feels like he has a much clearer runway for touches than Jalen Royals. Do you prefer IU Manor over Royals, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think in general, in most of my drafts in the third round, I'm attacking the running back position. There's so much value to me. Io Manor's interesting. His profile as a big X. It wasn't necessarily the most productive out of Stanford. I mean, again, there's really bad quarterback play there. He only played for 2 years. But, Royals to me is someone I haven't drafted a single time. I think I'm in 8 drafts currently, and I doubt I get a share of him. I get the landing spot. I get why you want to chase it, but I do see him being buried on the depth chart. I think his ceiling is pretty limited, in my opinion. I think he'll be a boom bust play most of the time if he does even get on the field. I hate to be the buzzkill.
All right, so tell Albert, Matt fucking hates your pick, dude.
Wow.
I love Jackson Dart pick.
Matt thinks you fucking took a terrible fucking player there.
He wanted to put a turd after your pick. That's what he wanted to do.
If he could throw a shit emoji on it, he would have thrown it right on that. But he liked your Jackson Dart one to make you feel a little better.
So, he would give you a smooth turd. So it'll be a bit of a wet one, not a full one. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing, too, I think we're kind of neglecting is Kyle Williams at the 302. That's a steal, in my opinion, too. I mean, he's stepping into probably one of the best situations where he's really just competing with 30-year-old or whatever he is, Stephon Diggs. So if anything, I think he's tied to a good quarterback, new coaching staff, investments on the offensive line. I love that landing spot.
That's fair.
Me too. Yeah, I think Shuck and Arroyo were interesting here too. I mean, I think these 3 clustered together Chuck, Neil, and Arroyo. Neil, this is kind of fair. Maybe he goes a couple picks ahead. This is kind of fair for where he's at. But Arroyo going behind Gunnar Helm is kind of surprising, unless somebody's really high on Gunnar Helm. But I love the landing spot for Arroyo, so a little surprised that he fell that far to the 3-9. Why don't we load up while we're talking here? I see some lights flickering, so these guys are still here looking at the board. I don't know if they're watching and they're here in the chat, but we are going to do another one. So let me go ahead and load this up.
Now, are you going to make two and send one to just me and Matt and someone to everybody else, or what's your plan of attack there?
Not this time. Not this time.
I kept wondering. You guys were saying there's 2 or 3 more spots. I'm sitting there looking at it. I'm like, there's no one in here.
I don't really know how that happened. I don't know how that happened, but
there's 3 taken. There's not 3 left. Yeah.
So let me say, Bob's son just joined. Bob, I don't know who you are. If you're here, send us a chat. Spirit. Send us a message in the chat here so we know who you are. Because, I know not everybody listens. Edit James is here too. I'm assuming that's James DRX, who's pretty active. If that's you, Minded Tester, if that's Bob, appreciate it, man. Because it's good to hear from guys. Because we don't always, a lot of times we have silent listeners, right? Which is cool. We appreciate the support either way, but we have a lot of guys that, kind of just like to listen. They don't always talk and aren't always active in the chat. But we'd love to hear from you guys and at least kind of be able to not necessarily put a face to the name, but know that, if you're new and we haven't had a chance to interact, message us and throw yourself in the chat and we can kind of see that. Hoff, do you not agree with that or?
No, it's not. It's not that. It's that I'm trying to join, and it sent me to Chrome. And it's just not letting me join, and I'm clicking it 20 times. And I'm like, all right, cool. No, I am all for getting to know our listeners. Of course, I love that. I think especially because we get to the point where it's like where we see people when we go, hey, that's a new face. So,
it's always cool. I think it's always nice to see new faces. And I guess this is Bob, right? Because it's Minded Test, but it says Bob. He said, usually listen while driving. I mean, that's cool. We love to hear that at least. Maybe you're driving home from work. If we could be a show that you listen to when you're leaving from your day job, that would be sweet. Blessings in the bag says, where's the link? I just sent it again. So you should have that. And then give me 1 second because I got to turn the Phillies game on.
This guy sucks at this, man. The link's not even working for me.
Maybe I should set the draft up, man.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like Bob and Matt and Edit James got in it. So I don't know what you want me to tell you, but it seems like people.
Hoff, you want me to invite you?
No, I just found my way in. Thank you very much. Thanks, Pete, for all your work. Thank you for that.
All right. Well, we have a couple. We just jumped up in live viewers, so we just got a bunch of new people. If you are here, the link is in the chat. So if you want to draft with us, once we fill up, we'll go ahead and hit that button and start it up. But while we wait,
2, 3, 4.
2, 3, 4. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna get spicy, so this is good that we're 2, 3, 4. That we can breathe a little bit in between picks, and also I can yell at Matt when he takes Travis Hunter at 2.
Dude, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! The people need to hear. Just wait, guys. We're gonna see either Cam Ward or Amarian Hampton. Boring. Chalk.
It's gonna be Ted. It's gonna be Ted at the 104.
I played for upside. I play to win. My goal is to have this 12th spot at the end of the season.
Stop. Enough. I don't understand. How does Ted not have upside? Explain it to me, please.
I gotta say, upside. Matt, I have to tell you this before you explain. I am starting to grow more onto what Pete's saying. I'm not all the way there, but I'm just about. So talk to me.
Yeah, Matt, educate Hoff and the listeners as to why Travis Hunter is the better.
I never showed up to high school, but I'd love to be educated right now. Give it to me.
I mean, let's start, guys. Who got the higher draft capital? Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter
guy plays
is
two
a
positions.
higher upside play, more ceiling, in my opinion, than Tet McMillan. Tet McMillan has separation issues already. He's going to Carolina, where you can roll your eyes, but it's the truth. It's the truth. It just is what it is. We have Tet McMillan.
What are separation issues? What is an adequate separation score for you?
Issues separating. That's what separation issues are.
On dig routes, on dig routes, right? Ted McMillan was 85 to 87, somewhere around there per Matt Harmon, right? That's above average for this draft class. What separation issue does he have? Matt Harmon, because he's 71% separation score against man coverage. Travis Hunter, I know, is in the 90s. Great. Travis Hunter didn't play great competition. Now Tet didn't either at Arizona. It's not like he was going up against.
They're in the same conference. It's the same conference.
But regardless, they're different skill sets. Like Tet is, first of all, Tet doesn't have to be a world beater as a separator with his size. Travis Hunter at his size needs to be really good at separation. Is that not accurate?
Hang on. I lost audio for you, so 1 second. Let me fix this.
Oh, God.
Hang on.
All right. Well, while we wait for Matt, we had 3 spots left. The link is in the chat. If you want, the link is in the chat. 3 spots left. Let's see. 3 spots left. If you want to join, it is in the chat. Bert just joined. So we have Bert, competitive rebuild, Gooneybergs, quite 8302. We still have Bob here. Green lights are lit up right now. 3 spots left. So if you are here, Blessing in the Bag says, I'm in, fellas. Perfect. Blessing in the Bag. What name are you in here? I would love to know. Are you got to be, I'm going to guess your competitive rebuild. Because Bob, we know, Quiet just drafted with us, and so did James. So you got to be one of the others. Maybe you're Brett. But I would think I'm going to go with competitive rebuild. You look like a Seattle guy because of the S for the money sign. All right. While we wait for this to fill, Matt, can you hear me yet or what?
Yeah, I'm good now. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
When we're looking at not only what the player can do, I think we also have to analyze the situation. I'm not going to deny that Tet walked into probably the best role he could have. He's competing with Xavier Legette and 35-year-old AARP representative Adam Thielen.
And Hunter Renfrow.
Easy.
Hunter Renfrow, who's also never mind. That doesn't matter. The point is
Hunter Renfrow's recovering from some shit, man. He better have some respect.
He deserves it. Great player.
Golly.
But here's where I struggle is when you're picking Tet McMillan, you are also making a bet on Bryce Young. Has Bryce Young produced fantasy output that you would say, yeah, man, I'm locked in, ready for this guy to be the one for my team? No. He's not. Trevor Lawrence has a top 12 year, and he didn't have a good target that he was even throwing to. Now he has Brian Thomas. He didn't have a full year with Brian Thomas, and he gets Travis Hunter. I think this offense is significantly better in Jacksonville. I trust Liam Cohen. So I like Travis Hunter. I think the upside is higher. If you told me both players hit their ceiling, hit their ceiling, who's the better finisher?
I think there's a world in which you could say, though, I think that you can answer, Pete, but I think there's a world in which you could say, we trust Liam Cohen, whom I do. But I also look at Bryce Young in those last 7 or so weeks where he averaged around 20 fantasy points or so. And I'd say I can get behind that with him getting more acclimated into a Dave Canales offense. Let's not forget they have an offensive-minded coach there as well. So I think both things can exist. But, Pete, you can go ahead and answer, but just wanted to put that out there.
I mean, when you look at the pressure, when you look at the O-lines for one, I mean, Carolina's O-line pressure rate wise on the quarterback position was much better than Jacksonville. That I will say. Trevor Lawrence, I like Trevor Lawrence but for what it's worth, I mean, Liam Cohen is his 3rd coach. Urban Meyer, let's toss that out. Fine. I get it, but it was still a thing, right? Urban Meyer was a thing. Doug Peterson, who everyone touted as really good, perfect fit. They got to the playoffs, and now they have a down year, and he's gone, right? Like Trevor Lawrence is now getting his third coach, right? Bryce Young is now on his second coach. Frank Reich, you might as well put in the Urban Meyer fucking category because he only got 1 year. And honestly, David Tepper, I think, had issues because I think Reich wanted CJ Stroud in the beginning. And so I think they didn't really match up. And when it was a bad year 1, I don't think there was much room to kind of make amends. I would say
that.
Personally, the Jaguars' offensive line didn't get much better. I mean, would you say that that offensive line is good, Matt? Because there's a reason that Trevor Lawrence didn't play the full year last year is because he was getting the piss knocked out of him. And has that really changed? Because he's gotten the piss knocked out of him for the last 2 years. This offensive line is not that good. Is that wrong? Because you say that you would prefer right? You say you prefer that the offense is better in Jacksonville. Yes, they have Brian Thomas Jr. I think they have higher talent, but that's only better for Tet. There's less talent around Tet to be successful, right? He's going to demand a ton of targets. Xavier Legette had 80-something targets last year, and I don't think he's that good. I mean, and then you get David Canales, who came over to, after leaving the Bucs, and Liam Cohen joined that team, right, who comes from a similar tree, which is ironic. We're talking about two similar offensive styles. Overall, I don't know how you look at the Jags and say they're indefinitely better. They have more talent there, and Liam Cohen is coming. We have hope for Liam Cohen, but the offensive line and David Canales is better. They just aren't as talented. I would say that's accurate, right? But Bryce Young,
I'll give you that the Panthers line is better.
Year. But the last time we saw Trevor Lawrence, I mean, Trevor Lawrence looked really good last year.
No, but he was hurt. If you're going to bring up that the line was bad and he was hurt.
Though. But the year before last year, he didn't look that good either.
He was hurt. He was
hurt
then.
2022, QB8.
Okay, that was 2 years.
Has never been higher than 20.
He's been in the league for 2 years. He's been in the league way less.
Trevor Lawrence has been in for
what? He could have been a.
Okay,
how many game manager like
how many QB1 seasons has Trevor Lawrence had?
Can two more people join the fucking
One.
draft?
And how many years has Trevor Lawrence?
Two, depending on your league formats.
How many years has Trevor Lawrence been in the NFL?
This will be his 5th year. So 2 out of his 4 years, he was top 13.
1 out of 4. What league format has he been? Was he 12? Was he in the top 12?
He was 13 in 2023. I'm just staring at
a
league where
You don't get to move him up. He wasn't a QB1.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is 13 better than 20? Yeah, it is. It is. 20 is 13 better than 23?
All right, let me take. I want to look at points per game here really quick. All right, let's take a look.
Switch it up now. Let's switch.
Let me look at points per game.
God, two more people doing the fucking draft, please.
You put him as a QB1. You put him as a QB1 when he was QB 13. That's technically not a QB1.
So I said he was QB1 1 year.
Trevor Lawrence has had 1 year where he's been QB 12 in points per game. He was QB 22, QB 13, QB 12, and QB 29. That one time where he was a QB1 in points per game and he was 12th. He was a fringe QB2. I mean, come on. Okay. And he was averaging 17.9
What was
per
Bryce?
game.
If that's what we're comparing situations, what was Bryce?
Trevor Lawrence's best year, 17.9 per game. Let's look at Bryce Young, which was got to be last year. Bryce Young's points per game, which, granted, I'm not going to give him excuses, but not working with much. But 14.6. So Trevor Lawrence averaged 3 points more per game. Okay,
do I have to get involved in this?
And his weapons got better too. Just as much as Bryce's weapons got better, Lawrence's got even better.
Yeah, Lawrence's weapons got better, but his offensive line is still dog shit. Whereas Bryce Young's offensive line is much better.
Bryce Young's offensive line, here's the one thing I will say. They are paid very, very high. I think Coach said they're the highest paid offensive line in the league by almost $13 million. But they are built for the run game. And that's what the Panthers did really, really well last year. They ran the ball well. They're very successful between the tackles. Chuba Hubbard was fantastic. That's why he got extended.
So, all right.
Totally agree with Grapefruit's point. Totally agree with that.
Anyway, last thing I want to do is get involved in this conversation, but I will just say, and this is what I'm going to continue to say, this is why I think both worlds could. I get you guys are fighting about which player is better, yada yada yada. Let's fight about it. There's a world in which Jacksonville could be better, but Bryce Young could also still be more than capable. I mean, you look at week 13 on, or actually even just screw it. Let's throw in week what's that? Week 12. Yeah, week 12. 16.5, 23.6.
We're
What?
full. We're full. I'm listening to you. I'm just going to start the draft.
So fuck your opinion then. Fuck your opinion.
Continue
no,
on.
I lost
I'm just letting everybody know that
they're gone.
Listening.
I don't see them anymore.
Fuck up.
In summary, Hoff was about to say I was right.
We're starting the draft. Continue, Hoff.
Matt's right. All right.
Thank you. You look good today, Hoff.
Thanks.
Second pick overall, we're going with Travis Hunter. Best athlete in the draft. He is going to be a big time player for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hoff, I'll kick it to you at the 3.
Well, we're doing this is SuperFlex, right?
Yes, I assume.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yep.
So just because let's go with what you guys were bitching about the whole time, I'm going to take Cam Ward. I don't begrudgingly take Cam Ward. I just know what Pete's going to do. I'm going to keep that fire alive because we'll argue more at the end of the show. But yeah, Cam Ward for me.
What the fuck is Tet? Well, this is the problem
right
with
there.
Okay.
He's right at the top of the list, guy. Jeez.
No, when I had him scrolled down. I was gonna say, dude, sleeper, man. With these,
man, alive. Got my dog over here. All right, I know. Pete's a bad man. We'll get rid of him soon. We got another half hour in a way. Matt, one thing I'll say, Matt, when it was you and I, when I was in the background doing the YouTube and making the graphics for you in the chat, there wasn't a lot of arguing going on. All of a sudden Pete's here, and it's just, sheesh,
Pete
and
I we get into these debates sometimes, Yeah. Same with Coach. You guys haven't seen me and Coach get into it yet.
Pete and I me and Anthony really get into it. Me and Anthony will kick each other's asses over a debate, but
look at this running back run right here.
Yeah, Marion Hampton, Henderson
Johnson.
Yeah.
But by the way, just Jacksonville Jaguars 28th in time, 28th in time to throw last year. I just want to make sure that's known.
By the way,
now, the Panthers are 24, so
it should be known. Matt, the other thing should be the other thing that should be noted was when I was trying to swoop in to make a good point for Pete. That was when Pete cut me off as hard as anything.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. And now he'll never know. Now I might decide on Capsule.
7 games.
What's Matt? Don't okay. Just you had me on your side. Don't start doing this. What are we doing? Matt Jones is actually
let me ask you
to be a 49er legend.
Hold on. I want to know. I want to know your opinion, Matt. Rome Odunze, BTJ, and Tet. Now, truthfully, take bias out of it because obviously we know what kind of year BTJ had. Where would you put Tet in last year's prospect rankings? Where would you put Tet? Because I was having a conversation about this. I said maybe behind Rome, but ahead of BTJ. You could maybe even argue ahead of Rome, but that's probably about where. I mean, BTJ was pretty raw coming out. He tested really, really well. But outside of that, I mean, he was pretty raw coming out. But where would you put Tet? And you're not a big Tet guy, but where would you put Tet in last year's rankings?
Yeah, I think Tet would probably be. It's tough to separate yourself and really go back in time and say where would he be. I think he'd be behind Rome for sure. BTJ's the tough one.
Because BTJ even going into the draft though, he was I get that he was raw, but he was still I don't know.
Well,
teams are still excited about him.
Yes.
And you could even pull clips from last year. I had BTJ ahead of Rome. But I personally think coming in, I think I prefer BTJ as a prospect more than Rome. I mean, you want to talk about you talk about Emeka Egbuka, Matt, and you talk about like upside and a guy that Roma Dunze feels like the Emeka Egbuka of this class, where very polished, good route runner, a guy that comes in. I mean, maybe a little bit faster than Egbuka, more upside on the speed, but overall pretty similar players in terms of when you talk about NFL ready from a polished route running standpoint. But I mean, to me, I have Tet ahead of Rome if we're talking about this year and last year's. And I know that's probably of the minority because many people had Rome, graded out as the number 3 behind in front of Tet, in front of BTJ. But to me, I don't know. I'll die on the sword with Tet this year, man. I don't care. We'll come back to the clips and we'll talk about it. But I'll die on the sword with Tet this year, man. I'm telling you.
All right. Well, Pete, you make your pick. There you go. You made your pick. Pete, you can read off our picks in a hot second since we are 2, 3, 4. But I will just say, even though I wasn't going to do it, I will just say that Bryce Young finished as QB 20 last year. First top 12 week came in week 12. In the weeks prior to that, he only averaged 7.1 points. After that, week 12 on, 20.7 points. So you want to call that getting more acclimated to a Dave Canales offense. You want to talk about that getting kicked in the ass, getting put on the bench for Andy Dalton. Be that as it may, I do still think that there is some optimism to be had there with one Bryce Young. So that's all I'll say about that.
I mean, here's what I'll say. When you look at Trevor Lawrence's career arc outside of the playoff, and we'll answer this big rice ball in just a second. But when you look at the career, when you look at the career arc between Bryce Young and Trevor Lawrence, I mean, Bryce Young has a rough rookie season. Trevor Lawrence had a rough rookie season as well. Now, both had shitty coaches that both got fired after year 1. Both had bounce back years, year 2. I would argue that Trevor Lawrence had more talent around him year 2 than Bryce Young had last year. I mean, Bryce Young was throwing to Jalen Coker, who for some reason everybody thinks is a guy, which, I mean, he's fine, but I don't think he's going to be a big contributor. Old man Adam Thielen and Xavier Legette, who is just a guy, in my opinion. I don't think he's ever going to be a big time player. They have there's a possibility they're on similar career arcs, but what do I know? I just think I don't know. I think Bryce Young. I believe that they will get better. I liked Canales' ability to sit him down after a tough start to the year last year, and the fact that he went back to him and Bryce Young looked better. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're talking about Trevor Lawrence here, who not for nothing. I know, Matt, you're a big Trevor Lawrence guy, but
I'm the leader of the fan club for sure.
The dude took his lumps. I mean, that's a Trevor Lawrence signed helmet up there. The Jags helmet is Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I like him too. I wish he would play better so I could sell the fucking thing for some fucking money. But I mean,
by the way, we are doing a rookie draft, by the way.
I know, but it doesn't fucking matter. Well, we're moving it. We're moving and grooving. It doesn't.
Thanks for watching.
It doesn't matter. This is good content. Okay, we got 22 people in here, and I'm sure the people are loving listening to me and Matt argue about Bryce Young and Trevor Lawrence. I'm sure this is. But I think
we're loving me having to go on mute because you said we'll answer the big rice ball in a minute.
Either way, Trevor Lawrence has taken his lumps too. If you're going to give grace to Trevor Lawrence, I don't know how you can't give grace to Bryce Young. I do think Trevor Lawrence was a much better prospect coming out. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, if Trevor Lawrence deserves grace, I don't know how Bryce Young is absolved of that either. After he definitely had a bounce back year. Would you not say that, Matt?
Well, Matt's busy picking on the clock, and now I'm on the clock. So, Matt, you can answer him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he did deserve some grace, and I'm not saying that he had a supporting cast. I just think that when we're trying to compare everything, it's apples and oranges in my mind. It just is. I believe in the Jags. I believe in Cohen. I believe in Trevor Lawrence, and I think that BTJ and Travis Hunter can coexist. I still think the supporting cast in Carolina is subpar. It is Tet, and that is it. I think you can argue that Leggett is a serviceable role player, but I wouldn't say he's anything more than that. I think Hoff's right. We should talk about these rookies a little bit. I mean, at the 203 or 202, I went Jackson Dart. 203, you went Trey Harris. Hoff, love that pick. Scattaboo goes at the 204 to Pete. Now you're back on the clock. What are you thinking here, Pete?
He's thinking why don't you talk about Tet McMillan more? That's what he's thinking.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle Williams falls yet again.
That's the pick. Yeah.
And so that's the pick. Me and Matt can agree on that at least. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Kyle Williams is the most talented player. But I mean, when we talk about opportunity, Kyle Williams lands in a really good situation. Let's get, before we answer Kevin, let's go back to Big Rice Ball because I did say we would answer his question first. He said I had the 106, the 112 in his SuperFlex tight end premium so you have to start 2 tight ends. That's interesting. Ended up taking Loveland at the 106 over Ward, and it's a SuperFlex. Wow, this is interesting. I've never been in a start 2 tight end league. I don't know if any of you guys have, but
yeah, but it wasn't SuperFlex. I've done it, but it wasn't SuperFlex.
Plus the SuperFlex is tough. Over Ward and Judkins.
I like it.
I mean, I think we need to know who your quarterbacks are.
Sure.
I think that would probably help a little bit because even if it's a start 2 tight end, I mean, I got to think most people don't have a studs tight end too. So even if you don't have a great second tight end, I don't think it's the end of the world. If you have a decent tight end 1 and you don't have a great tight end quarterback 2, I think I would have preferred Ward in that situation. I mean, am I wrong?
No,
I mean, what's the separation between tight ends and points per game outside of the top guys? It's probably not that much.
I think it also depends on what the premium is. Like there's leagues out there that have, 1.5 tight end premiums, and that's pretty dang big. I mean, that's a big differential. I mean, he does add, Pete, that he has not only my guy, Jaden Daniels, but my guy, Trevor Lawrence. So the debate continues.
Jesus Christ.
It's 0.75 tight end premium. Yeah, that's kind of like the in between. I mean, if it was 0.5, I'd say give me Ward. If it's 1.0, then I could see taking Loveland. 0.75, it'd probably depend on the full roster, to be honest.
Did you guys see the movie Saw, the original?
I sure did.
Where the 2 guys in the corner of the room? I would actually be the guy in the middle, and it would be Matt talking about Trevor Lawrence, and it would be Pete talking about Bryce Young. And I would eventually saw my fucking foot off to get the hell out of there, or just bleed out and die.
Hey, listen. All I gotta say is I got 3 thumbs up emojis for the Kyle Williams pick, so I'm feeling pretty good about my draft so far.
Well, thank God you're paying attention to it.
So let's go back to his question since he does give context. He has Jaden Daniels. He's got Jaden Daniels. He's got T-Law. He goes with Loveland at the 106. I think for me,
tight ends are trash.
Tight ends are trash. So fine, totally fine. Now the question is, at the 112, could you have gotten Warren or Loveland possibly? Because I like Terrence Ferguson too. It's a tight end premium league, so I guess I can understand wanting to take the safer play in Warren and Loveland if your tight ends are this shitty. If you had a decent tight end, maybe wait and go get like Ferguson or Mason Taylor. I'm fine taking Loveland. I prefer Warren. I know Matt prefers Loveland. I know Hoff prefers Warren as well. I think either way, regardless of arguing between Loveland or Warren, I think it's fine to take one of those guys at the 106 based on your quarterbacks and the fact that your tight ends are pretty fucking shit.
Yeah, I'm in several pretty savvy leagues, in my opinion, and I've yet to see one of these big name tight ends not go in the first round. And they're all tight end premium leagues. So I think taking him at the 106 is probably smart because I've seen multiple drafts already with one of those guys at the 6. So I don't think you would have got him at the 112. It's possible.
I don't.
You never know.
I don't think he would have either.
Kickoff.
I mean, but I like Ferguson and
I agree.
and Taylor, so I'm fine hoping that one of them falls, depending on if he has any decently high second rounders. So I'm up here.
My draft is incredible. Good God. Well, you guys were bitching about. I had the best draft out of the three of us.
Well, why don't Mr. Grapefruit shouted out Mr. Brett 420. Why don't you guys take a look at Brett's draft while I pick and tell me what you guys think about that?
Where are we, Brett? Brett the Hitman Hart? Where are you? Oh, there you are, Brett. RJ Harvey, Mason Taylor, Woody Marks. Matt?
Harvey's interesting. I don't have a single share yet of RJ Harvey. The opportunity.
If he's not taking Harvey there, though, he's not getting him.
Totally agree. It's interesting with this draft, just the way the running backs went. Like Caleb Johnson went at the 108. I'm starting to catch on to the steam of Sean Payton getting his guy. Maybe I'm listening to Pete talk too much, but I do think there's something there. He did get the higher capital over Caleb Johnson. So I think that's interesting. Mason Taylor at the 212, probably a good pick, especially if tied in premium league. I don't love the quarterback situation, but long term, I'm sure they'll find an answer. I think Mason Taylor will stick around in the league.
Yeah. I guess let's check a look because we have more questions here. Kevin says, I have the 1-4, 1-5, and a 1 quarterback. In a rebuild with Garrett Wilson, A.J. Brown, Shakir, would you go Judkins and Henderson or Henderson, Hunter / Tet? I know what Matt would do, so I'll let Matt answer first, and then me and Hoff can follow up.
Oh, sure.
You have a 1-4 and 1-5 and a 1 QB league rebuild with Garrett Wilson. Would you go Judkins, Henderson? I would go Henderson, and then I would go Hunter. That's what I would do. I like Henderson over Judkins, and I've also drafted Henderson over Hampton twice now. So I just think that landing spot's really interesting to me. I like the ceiling of Travion Henderson. I think he has the ability to not only be very good, but I think he could be a superstar. I think Hampton's in a great situation. The runway's probably not open year 1, but year 2 he'll be fine. And then Ted Hunter, I don't care. Pick your poison, whichever one you want. It doesn't matter. My preference is Travis Hunter. You guys have heard it. So,
yeah, I would go Henderson, and I would go with Tet. I don't think there's, I think if you go Hunter, I think you're doing just fine. But I would go Henderson and Tet. To me, I look at what Hunter is able to do on defense, and we don't know how this is going to play out. We don't, if we're talking about long-term dynasty football, we don't know if all of a sudden, if it's going to shift for whatever reason, to all of a sudden Hunter doesn't play as much offense. That world could happen. And if that happens, that hurts his value. And it helps Ted McMillan, who's all of a sudden not going to play cornerback. It's just not going to happen. So I would go Henderson. I would go with Tet. I know I'm giving a weak example there, but that's what I'm going with. Pedro? You're on mute, but you sound great.
Yeah. Henderson over Judkins for sure. That's consensus. I think Hunter or Tet, I'm going Tet, but there's no reason to rehash it. We've already kind of talked about it.
No shit.
But I think you're fine with either guy. I mean,
you are fine with either guy. Yes.
Let's make that clear. I think the one thing with Tet that I will say, and then I won't bring it up again, is when you look at T. Higgins, T. Higgins is an example of a guy who wasn't an elite separator, but was great contested catch and was paired up with an elite guy next to him. T. Higgins was 4th in points per game last year, right? So, I mean, Mike Evans is an example of a guy who wasn't a 4-4, guy when it comes to speed at his size. He was like 4.5, 4.55. So overall, I mean, we've seen guys like T. Higgins who, if Tet's not an elite separator, that doesn't mean that he can't be an elite fantasy option. T. Higgins was wide receiver 4 in points per game. He was injured like who the fuck knows, like 9 times last year, which is just T. Higgins, and maybe we'll see him finally stay healthy because he has a contract magically.
Well, we're not.
But I think Tet's. I think he gets dinged for his route running when he's really, really a good leverage guy. And honestly, Bryce Young gets credit. He throws pretty good when it comes to tight windows. So that's the last thing I'll say about that. Let's launch up one more draft. We are at the hour 15 mark. We'll do one more.
Yeah, one more, huh?
And then let me see too, because we do have I think we have another question. Big Rice was just throwing some more information out there. And then this one's interesting. So Matt's drafted in the most drafts out of the three of us in rookie drafts. So Matt, you can answer this one while I set up the next draft.
And
yeah, it's pretty easy. Not once. I have yet to see Ibuka be even taken at the 201. He has been gone every single time. I personally don't have a single share either. It's just never worked out. He kind of sits pretty comfortable at that 108 to 109 range. I've rarely seen him go past that. It's unfortunate. I'd love to have a share because, like Pete said, I've said time and time again, I think he's the most pro-ready guy. His ceiling might be a little bit capped, but I do think he's a good player. But I haven't had a chance to get him on my team.
Yeah, the argument between and this is actually a good argument for me and Matt, which if you haven't noticed, and Matt in the offseason, we've talked a lot about prospects, and Matthew Golden versus Emeka Egbuka is an interesting one because both guys fall into a quote unquote crowded wide receiver room, but Matthew Golden lands into a room where he has the clear pathway to be the number one wide receiver in his offense. I think we can definitely both agree with that, right, Matt? And find some common ground there. But when it comes to Emeka Egbuka, when you look at this offense, Cade Otton had around 86 targets last year. Sterling Shepard had over 50. Obviously, it was due to a lot of injuries, but the Bucks were asked today or yesterday about the availability of Chris Godwin and if that factored into Egbuka, and they said they loved Egbuka, but and they're hoping that Godwin is ready for week 1. To me, that doesn't sound that promising that Godwin's ready week 1, and we're talking about a dislocated ankle. And now we have seen a lot of guys that have these ankle injuries that do not come back good week the first year that they're back. Cooper Kupp had the tightrope. Mark Andrews had the tightrope. He had a little bit of a tough start to the year. We've seen some guys who have had issues, and I'm trying to pull it up because I did have a conversation on Twitter about Tet, and I did post some information about him. But when you look at this Bucs offense, Baker Mayfield and the Bucs were top 10 in passes per game. Baker Mayfield averaged 33 attempts per game. Yeah. And Jordan Love plays for an offense that's more run heavy, that they play in a colder environment down the stretch, that we saw them want to run the football with Josh Jacobs. Now, Matt and Hoff, do you think that's more of a product of the fact that their wide receivers just flat out stunk and Jordan Love had a little bit too much gunslinger mentality to him and they reeled him in? Or is it more of just the play style of what they want to do, which is run the football in this offense with Matt LaFleur?
Yeah, I'll just jump in front here. I don't think that the Packers are ever going to just have a bona fide number one top-notch wide receiver. People are going to ask about it every single offseason. We're going to debate who it is. We debated who it was last year. We debated who it was the year prior. Matthew Golden gives people a clearer avenue to say, well, it's going to be him because there's been no one else before. But I think we're just going to, in terms of Packers wide receivers, I think we're always just going to have frustration. It's not going to be a consistent thing where a Packers wide receiver wire to wire is their wide receiver one. I think Matthew Golden has an opportunity to be it more often than not, but I still think there's disappointment ahead. And I just think that's the way the offense is built. And honestly, listen, I know the floor hasn't raised a Lombardi trophy, but it's worked out pretty okay for him so far.
Yeah, I think one thing we need to consider too with the Packers offense is Love was hurt. He was not healthy last year, and that kind of lingered on throughout the year.
From the jump,
I do think
week one.
It's a testament. Yeah, exactly. It's a testament to their draft capital with with Matthew Golden that they don't necessarily think that any of those guys in that room can step up and be the guy for Jordan Love. I don't think that the experiment of Dobbs, Wicks has gone well. I think Reed is a serviceable, gadgety slot kind of guy. I think he continues to have his role, but I don't think he's the guy that you can rely on. I mean, isn't it true that he's never had more than like 6 targets in a game? He's never played more than 80% of snaps. Like, there's a lot of things that show he can't stay on the field. As much as I love him, he's a former Spartan, but it just hasn't worked out. I do think that Golden has the opportunity to unlock this offense and stretch the field. They tried to do that with Christian Watson. I mean, remember the very first play they had where he runs that streak down the field? He's wide ass open, and the ball just lands right in his hands, and it goes straight through. Like that was the embodiment of what's happened with Christian Watson. Now he's injured. It's just not been great. I think Loveland can be, I keep saying Loveland. I think that Golden can be the guy to unlock the offense and stretch the field. I love him in space. I love his double moves. He's got elite track speed. He's got solid hands, in my opinion. The production at Texas, no, it wasn't there, but I do think that he's better than that production. Ewers was not good. Arch Manning stepped into some tough situations and tough games where they relied on his legs rather than his arm. They relied on the legs of that backfield. So I think he can definitely improve and see better days ahead of him as we move into the NFL.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, too many times it feels like these conversations become, if you like one guy, you don't like the other. And we had talked, Matt, and I actually said to you that I actually happen to like the landing spot for Loveland. I think people are a little too down on him. Not Loveland, Golden.
I got you doing it.
I was about to say.
I happen to like the landing spot for Golden. And I mean, Jordan Love, I think it's a benefit to being a speed guy like Golden with a gunslinger quarterback. I mean, we're going to likely get fireworks a couple of times this year where Golden would not shock me if he scores 2 70-yard touchdowns this year because of the speed and because of the willingness that Jordan Love is to throw the football and take some chances and take some risk. And so, I prefer Igbukah. I just think long-term, there's continuity on this team. I think the Packers have continuity too, so don't get me wrong. But I think overall, I prefer the guy that plays in the warm weather, that's in the offense that seems to prefer historically to throw the football more, where yes, Jordan Love did get injured, but Matt LaFleur's offense features 2 running backs. And usually, I mean, we saw a ton of times Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have a ton of attempts, but he was so efficient in games that he'd throw for like 180 yards with 4 touchdowns because he was that good in the red zone and that like just a Swiss Army knife. And so I think it just speaks to just the way that offense is set up. But to touch on Igbukah, the only other thing I would note is the Packers ran the ball 3rd highest rate in the NFL last year. Bucks threw the ball 91 more times in the NFL last season. I think the Bucks are in more of a pass-happy offense, and they're playing with a defense behind them that is not very good. The Packers defense is pretty decent. I mean, they were arguably top 10 last year. Bucks defense didn't get much better. So I think Bucks are going to continue to be in high scoring games, and Packers likely in high scoring games too. That's a division that's going to put up points as well. But
the only question I want to ask, I'm sorry, go ahead, finish your point.
No, that was it. All I was going to say is I prefer Igbukah, but that doesn't mean I don't like Golden. Golden is my wide receiver 4.
Sure.
So, I mean,
And
I prefer him over Trey Harris. I prefer him over Luther Burden. And Golden's going at Matt can tell you, Golden's going at the 203 in a lot of leagues, which is kind of nuts to me for a guy that had first round capital who's going behind guys that had second and third round capital. So, I mean, it's kind of nuts.
One, our draft's full, so you need to get to work and you need to start.
Yeah.
The second thing I was going to ask, and this isn't even, a Golden or take, but with this Buccaneers offense, I mean, we worried about Baker Mayfield.
We're on the clock, by the way.
I know I spoiler who I'm going to take, but I'll run up the clock just like the NFL draft would. After Canales left, we was like, all right, well, what's going to happen to the Buccaneers offense? All of a sudden, Cohen comes and everything's great. And now Cohen's gone. What's going to happen? Can we keep, and I'm not saying I'm disagreeing with you, Pete, but can we keep just doubling down on what the Buccaneers can be and maintain this style of offense that they have? Or is it going to come to a point where we're going to go to run a check and it's not going to get cashed?
Well, here's what I'll say, and then we're gonna get to Kevin next because this question's up, and I'd like to get to that one too because that's a good question. It's actually one of my favorite.
That was a good question. It was.
We'll get to you in a second, Kevin. But what I would say is, Canales leaves. Liam Cohen he wasn't even on the staff. He comes from college to become the offensive coordinator, and then leaves after 1 year. They promoted from within. I mean, Liam Cohen comes from the Sean McVay tree. Canales comes from the Sean McVay tree. Both guys. And then they promote from within from a guy underneath. So the style of the offense, the scheme is going to stay the same. And at some point, do we give Baker Mayfield credit for why this offense has flourished so much? You know what I mean? I mean, coordinator from Liam Cohen, from Canales to Cohen. I mean, at some point, if this offense looks really good this year and doesn't look like it skips a beat, do we start to give credit to Baker Mayfield at this point? Because, I mean, I don't know. He's the consistent piece. Yeah, I mean, he's the consistent piece in the offense. So, but yes, I think there is a little bit of concern of Baker Mayfield and do the Bucs actually replicate what they've been able to do? And we'll see. But you can make the same argument about the Jags because while Liam Cohen is good, was Liam Cohen a product of just a lot of talent in that offense as well with the Bucs?
I say no.
Or is it Baker Mayfield? I don't know.
He did get Will Levis drafted. Just going to say that.
I'm going to just true. This is one of those things again. Both things can be true.
Sure. No, I agree. I'm just drawing parallels between both. That's all.
No. You're trying to start arguments. You're trying to be a shit star. You're on the clock.
You're on the clock, Pete. So you make your pick. Let's talk about Kevin's question.
Yeah.
Personally, I would rank him as Scattaboo, Higgins, Betch, probably. I think there are times where I've drafted Betch over Higgins, but I think you're kind of splitting hairs.
Yeah, I would go Scattaboo, Betch, Higgins, but same thing. Like I wouldn't fight somebody who said Higgins. I'd go Scat, Higgins, Betch,
but it's close between Higgins and Betch. I think you can make an argument for Betch because he's in more of a clearer path.
It's kind of what I'm going with.
He steps into an immediate opportunity to get targets. Higgins is always going to be competing with Nico Collins and Jalen Noel.
Right.
And Tank Dell if he eventually comes back.
And to me,
looks anything serviceable.
And to me, from what we saw last year from CJ Stroud, I think we saw what we're going to normally see. I don't think we're going to see a great fantasy quarterback. I think he's going to be kind of what we saw last year. I think that's what it is. I don't think it's going to be as much as what we saw during the rookie year. So, yeah.
Stroud, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are we at? Oh, I'm on the clock. Look at that. All right. I'll be right back, boys. Let me do this.
So, Matt, why don't you talk about this guy that the Commanders drafted, Jaquiski Brisker.
Ja'Cory Cross Key Merritt.
Yes.
Guy who did not play in 2024. He only had one game. Your mind immediately goes to, well, what injury did he have? It wasn't an injury. It was actually ineligibility. He lost a transfer year at the beginning of the season due to some technicalities. So he ended up having to sit out his year at Arizona. So he didn't have any production in 2024. But if you go back to 2023, he is one of my dynasty sleepers because of this reason. Watch the tape. I went back and watched it after we drafted him because I was like, I don't even know this guy. It's solid, man. It's really good tape. And you pull up his metrics, man. He's top 10 in almost everything. Everything. I think I sent you a tweet, Pete. Did I not? I'm going to try and go find it.
I saw it.
Kind of lays it out.
Yeah,
but I do what? I'm sorry.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that he steps into opportunity. I mean, Brian Robinson is capped. We've seen him many times just get the ball, hit the hole, and it's just wide open. And he gets hawked by a safety or by a corner because he just doesn't have that speed to break away. Ja'Cory Krosky, there's plays that he has on tape where he makes those. He breaks tackles.
You said Brian Thomas. You mean Brian Robinson?
Brian Robinson, excuse me. Thank you. I'm just so caught up in the Jags right now.
I honestly had to take a second. I was like, is he talking about the Jags again?
Do you wear Jaguar pajamas to bed? Like, what's going on?
I guess I should.
I guess you should. Oh,
but then, I mean, he's also competing with Austin Eckler, and we see what Eckler is. The injuries kind of caught up to him a little bit this past year, but I just think there's an opportunity, and he's a guy you can draft in the 4th round or even later than that. You can pick him up off waivers.
Can we pause here for a second and just move
and argue about Bryce Young and Trevor Lawrence more?
Can we just fix this?
Fucking shoot myself.
That's a golden.
Let's fix that. I put golden there. Good. Yeah, let's just fix that. Okay. All right. Sorry. Continue. Oh, all right. Thought it was good. But yeah, I mean, is Brian Robinson?
Who is that in the picture either?
I'm killing you today. I'm sorry.
Is that Goldson?
Oh no, this guy's white. This guy's white. So
no,
right?
I meant the other guy. Very good. Thank you.
Who's the white guy?
I wasn't asked about that.
Okay, so you don't know either guy. So how am I supposed to fucking know?
I literally just tried to name the name of the other guy. What do you mean I don't know? You know what? Fuck you. Just hurry up, will you?
Now he said, "Now can you remove the poop?" No, I don't think so. It's a good pick, though. It's a good pick.
Put a poop emoji on Pete right now.
So what we're gonna do is we're at the hour 32 mark. When the draft is over, we'll review really quick. Best team, worst team, best picks, biggest reach. And then I want Hoff and Matt to talk about their favorite player that they're buying. And then we're going to take a look at the recent trades of those players. So you two think about that on the spot. You got about 2 rounds, 2.5 rounds.
Favorite rookie? Favorite?
No. Just favorite player, favorite veteran, not a rookie, favorite player, veteran-wise, that you're buying right now. Jaden Higgins goes off the board. I'm here at the 208. It's not a tight end premium, but I do think Terrence Ferguson here. I will die on the Terrence Ferguson hill. You could sway me on Kyle Williams too. I would honestly be comfortable. I have Kyle Williams behind Jack Besh and Higgins, but there's a world where Kyle Williams you could sell me ahead of Jack Besh and Higgins at the 2.6. I don't know if that's crazy. I don't know, Matt, what you think, but I think it's a good landing spot for Kyle Williams and honestly a productive receiver in college. So there's a world where that happens, but I like Terrence Ferguson with the Rams landing spot.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, I think it was you that sent me the tweet. I don't know, but there were reports that they almost took him in round 1.
Yes.
That's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah. Yes, that was me that sent that. I'm going to put an emoji there too. Phillies are down 4-2. not
In
great.
case anybody's a basketball fan, the Knicks are down 2 at halftime.
You know what? You know what's crazy? I haven't paid attention to the hockey or the NBA playoffs at all this year. I kept up a little bit with NBA lately because the Lakers, who are my team, got eliminated. But I don't really pay too much attention to the NBA these days.
Well, my team had the clean sweep. That's what we do out here in Thunder World. Let's talk about some value right here at the 211, just under the radar. Tootin. Absolutely love that. I like that situation.
Yeah, Tootin's a guy that honestly people will argue Tootin over Scattaboo. And if you feel that way, I mean, you might even take him higher than the 211. I still have Scat ahead of Tootin though, for what it's worth. But I do like Tootin. I didn't love Tootin as much as a prospect as other people did. Obviously, he ran the really fast 40, but I wasn't as high on Tootin as a prospect. So I'm good with him being at the 211. I still have Scat ahead of him though.
I think you're splitting hairs, to be honest. I think I've drafted one or over the other at least once. So
would you take Tootin at the 2.5, 2.4?
Yeah, I've drafted
pretty much where
Tootin
Scat
205. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the range I'm looking. I've had a few drafts where I think I've been at the 204 and it's been between Burden and one of those running backs, and I went with the running back simply because I had some competing teams where I wanted some running back depth with some pretty solid wide receiver rooms. Yeah, I could add Burden. I am not in love with the landing spot in the short term, but long term, I think he'll probably be fine. DJ Moore, maybe he gets moved out. I mean, there's the comments from the coaching staff of you're going to have to earn your targets and, you're going to have to put forth the effort. And I think a little bit that is a shot at DJ Moore because his effort has been lackluster.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. I'm a DJ Moore guy. So, I mean, but I get it. Let me ask you, because I mean, I'm pretty low on Burden. I wasn't as high on him coming into the draft. Obviously, people are pretty down on him with the landing spot. But overall, where is Burden in your rankings? I mean, is he right behind Golden there? Do you have Trey Harris ahead of him? Where do you have him ranked?
I'd rather have Trey Harris, to be honest, man. That landing spot's fantastic. A lot like we give Ladd credit where he just stepped into that role. I think it's similar to the argument of, Travis Hunter with Brian Thomas. I think they both can thrive. They're with an elite quarterback, a solid coach on a really dang good football team. If you want to go to, like we were talking about with offensive lines, theirs is one of the best. So I love the situation for Trey Harris. Not only that, I loved his film too. I think I'd take both him and Golden over Burden. It's just murky there because not only that, they drafted Loveland too. So you have Rome who went early last year. It's just murky, man, to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I have Burden ahead of him, and I have Higgins ahead of him. And then I have Burden at Burden's my 107. I mean, you know me, I'm a big Higgins guy. But I had Higgins as my wide receiver 5 coming in. So I've actually bumped Higgins back 2 spots, and I had Burden as my 106. So Burden drops back 1 spot. And then I had Trey Harris as my, actually I had Higgins at the 104, and I had Trey Harris at the 105. I had Golden somewhere around, yeah, I got to look back at it, but somewhere around there, all those guys kind of land. But yeah, I have Higgins. I have Higgins over Burden at the moment. I think it's easier to imagine Burden in a situation. And did I just get auto picked? Oh my god,
you did. Hey, but you got your guy.
No, he's not my guy anymore. I mean, I guess Miami with Ollie Gordon, it's not the worst landing spot with the injuries, but yeah, I guess I understand with Burden. You can picture manufactured touches, where with Higgins maybe not. But Higgins is a guy that he has slot athleticism for a guy that's pretty much an X wide receiver. So I'm pretty down on Burden, and I'll live with that because there are Burden truthers out there that are dug in pretty freaking hard on him. So yeah. It's getting to the point in the show. I've had a couple of IPAs, probably too many. I'm getting a little foggy over here. I'm not.
Oh
gonna
no! Oh no!
James said landing spots aside. Landing spots aside, who's more talented? I mean, Matt, is Trey Harris more talented than Luther Burden? Because you're a Trey Harris guy, and then I'll answer for Jaden Higgins because I'm a Jaden Higgins guy. But
Yes.
Yeah. I think Burden's
I
think Burden's tree is pretty limited, right? I mean, I feel like his route tree is kind of limited.
It's limited. He has to develop that, I think, a little bit in Chicago. Now that's where it's going to benefit him because he ran so many screens.
God damn it, Matt.
Yes, sir.
No, proceed. No, keep going.
I stole your guy. I'm sorry. I did. But I think that Harris to me has a really high ceiling. That's the way I view it. If you go back and watch his tape and you see what he does, he only played 8 games at Ole Miss last year, and he was still a first-team SEC all-wide receiver. So I love his landing spot with Justin Herbert. I can't talk about that enough. He can run every route. He can make people move, or he can make people miss. He can make moves in space. He's got fantastic hands. He's got all you want on the route tree. Zone, man, doesn't matter. He's solid. So I think he's the better prospect. Now, Burden has more athleticism. There's no denying that. But I think Harris has the higher ceiling, in my opinion.
I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm with you there. I prefer Harris too. I think the thing about Burden is he had, and Crazy Steve's about to get auto drafted again, so I'm gonna pause.
Jesus Christ, who is this guy?
He's crazy, man. It's Steve.
I'm gonna pick for him. Has Shador
they are
gone?
who we thought they were.
Crazy.
That's a good one. I didn't even know we had that soundbite.
Yeah, there you go.
But they are who we thought they were.
Let's go DJ Giddens. That's fine. So the thing with Luther Burden is he had a really good sophomore. He had a really good year prior to last year. But I just don't feel like he developed. And I think the funniest thing about Luther Burden is when I watched his tape, and I actually feel like I said this to you and Coach Matt, but I feel like when he wasn't involved in routes this year on film, he dogged it. That was a concern for me, is that when he wasn't involved in the play, he dogged it. And it's ironic that he goes to the Bears who make comments, and I don't think 100% do not think that the comments that Ben Johnson made are about Luther Burden. They wouldn't make the comments about a guy that they just drafted that high.
What was the comments? Wait a minute.
It was pretty much about effort, about their routes run, and so on and so forth. Which likely it was a shot at DJ Moore from last year, and there were times DJ Moore looked checked out.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm only saying this because that made me think back. Way before the draft, I was watching Bears games, the All 22, and even in those first few weeks, you saw DJ Moore giving up on routes. Like I noticed it without even, So to you just say that, and I saw it in the first few weeks.
I'm true. I try to take bias out of it. Sometimes I can admit I'm very biased about DJ Moore for whatever reason. I've always loved DJ Moore. I don't know. I fucking love DJ Moore. I think he's a really good receiver, and I think he's a guy that has produced in really shitty situations. But I would say I think it's ironic to finish the original point. I think it's ironic that, they bring in Luther Burden, who I think has issues. That was actually one of my biggest notes that I wrote down about him that I had concerns about, is that he takes off plays when he's not involved. And I don't know if it's a product of bad quarterback play this year and just bad team overall, but you can make the argument that DJ Moore, same thing. And DJ Moore just got paid too. I mean, I don't know,
Yep.
but overall,
Well,
that was
or not.
concerning. That was concerning with Luther Burden, but I
You're on
don't
the
know.
clock, Pete, by the way.
I'm a Jaden Higgins guy, and through and through, I'm a Jaden Higgins guy, and I'll take him over Luther Burden any day.
Bing bong.
I'll die on that sword. That's fine with me.
Don't overthink the 408.
What sound drop should I play next?
I'm taking Pat Bryant. My back is locking up, man, because I fucked up my back today pretty bad at the gym. Oh, my back is fucking stiff. Fuck.
Oh, that reminds. Never mind. I won't go there. Nope.
No, hold off. Don't go there.
No, it reminds. Okay. You said stiff. I'm a child. It reminds me. You remember last year we had the guy in our chat. His name was Whistle Dick. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We still have this sound drop.
Nice. Yes.
So you'd be on the back end because your back's hurting. So you'd be on the, it's hurting you.
We'll see you later, James. Thanks for tuning in, buddy.
Sorry about that, James. Hope you enjoy the show.
Wow, man. I just got sniped 4 times at the 411. I was going to go with Will Howard. Then I was going to go with Pat Bryant. Then I was going to go with Torrey Horton. Then I was going to go with Kyle Monangai. So that's a tough stretch for me.
Who gets sniped 4 times in a mock draft?
Only me, man. Only me.
That's funny.
So-
Correct. Nope.
So this is a good question. Ballsville game said, which of these round 4 running
What is
backs
up with these names?
are you taking if available?
Balls.
I know Matt's
man.
answer. I know Matt's
talk
answer.
for days.
You go first, Matt.
I'm telling you, man, I'm buying as many of these picks as I can. I told these guys I had 6 third-round picks in a row the other day. I had multiple 4th rounds. I'm going with Taj Brooks. I'm going with DJ Giddens. I'm going with Kyle Monangai, Ja'Cory Crosskey Merritt. Like, these guys are awesome, man. I think there's situations. One of them is going to hit.
Yeah, I think for me, I think I'll go DJ Giddens just because I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be expensive to keep next year. I think he's somewhere around 16 to 17 million after the season, and they can move on from him for about 2.68 or somewhere around that for the dead cap. And I like DJ Giddens a lot coming out, and Taylor's had issues staying healthy a little bit, so I'll go with DJ Giddens.
I would go Giddens too. The only thing that would worry me is if a new coaching staff comes in, which we probably anticipate there. And what if they don't view him the same as we might? I'm saying in years forward, but could be that. But I'd still go there. There's something to keep in mind.
All right, well, so we answer that. Now, I gave you and Matt some time to think about who your favorite players to buy are. Matt, you sound like you're ready. So who is a player that you're currently buying at the veteran position at the moment?
You got it, man. I'm going with Tucker Kraft. If you pull up Tucker Kraft, he's the 104th player overall in startup ADP. Look at some of these trades. Tucker Kraft for 2 third-round picks. I mean, you're talking about, do you want the production of possibly Harold Fannin, who I like, and maybe another dart throw on one of those wide receivers? Give me Tucker Kraft. He's been really productive. We saw him make big plays, explosive in the open coverage. So I really like him. I mean, some of these trades are crazy to me. So I like Tucker Kraft's value right now. I think you could go scoop him up for a mid to late second. And if someone's offering you 2/3 to go get Tucker Kraft, absolutely do that. I mean, Zach Ertz here. You're talking about, I get a win now move, but there's a world where Tucker Kraft finishes higher than Zach Ertz this season. So I think that's the player I would be targeting. I've bought him a couple times. So, yeah, that's my guy.
I like it. Yeah, I'm looking here. I'm looking at Tucker Kraft too on Dynasty Daddy, and honestly, both Dynasty Data Lab and Dynasty Daddy are really good platforms to use if you want to get some baselines for trades. But Tucker Kraft or Jalen McMillan, who would you guys prefer?
Tucker Kraft, it's not even close. McMillan's value's tanked, man.
Really?
It's tanked.
I would go with McMillan.
That's fucking nuts when you think about it, because a month and a half ago, you
would not be
not even hesitate on Jalen McMillan. That's how crazy things change. I mean, So Tucker Kraft to the 208. Now, mind you, the 208, you could probably get Ferguson, you could probably get Mason Taylor, you could definitely get Harold Fannin and Arroyo. 208, I think I'd go with the 208 over Tucker Kraft.
Depends on my team. Do I need a tight end? I think that can be the plug and play guy. Then yeah, I'd go Tucker Kraft. If I'm rebuilding or if I'm not sure.
You don't prefer any of the rookie tight ends of outside of the top two over Tucker Kraft? You're not convinced on any of them yet?
I mean, well, yeah, I prefer Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. But
no, I said I said outside of the top two.
Oh, sorry. Ferguson is interesting, but I mean, he still has to deal with Higbee and Parkinson. Parkinson can block. He's going to stay on the field. We need to remember that. Higbee can block too, not quite as well as Parkinson. Arroyo is with Noah Fant. Noah Fant is a serviceable veteran. I think he will overtake that role. Mason Taylor is attached to Justin Fields. So there's question marks and red flags with all these guys. Tucker Kraft, we have seen do it in the NFL. He's attached to Jordan Love, who we were just talking about as being a trigger-happy, throw the ball deep, don't care quarterback. So I like that situation. And he proved to step up multiple times last year with not only just, let's call it 10 catches or so for 50 yards. We're talking 70-yard touchdowns. I mean, he made big plays.
So let me ask you, Matt, and I'm only talking because we'll move on to Hoff's guy after this, but Tucker Kraft, what is the upside for Tucker Kraft in your opinion? What is his ceiling? Top five? Are we talking just outside the top five, like 6, 7, 8 kind of range? Like, what is the ceiling for Tucker Kraft in your opinion?
I don't know if it's top 5, but we've already seen a top 12 year. He was 9 last year, so I think it's just fine to say he can be a top 10 tight end. I mean, just looking at his points per game, I don't know if this is a tight end premium league I'm staring at, but he had a 20
to finish better.
Multiple 12-point games. So, I think there's value in Kraft.
Hoff said Brenton Strange finished better. I like Tucker Kraft.
No. I'm saying he's going to finish better.
Okay, well, no.
I like Strange too, for what it's worth.
Let's put you on the Hoff. Let's put you on the Hoff. Let's put you on the spot. Tucker Kraft or Brenton Strange? Who do you prefer, Hoff?
Brenton Strange.
Matt?
So it's not put me on the spot.
Kraft. Yeah. But to be fair, I don't think it's too far apart. I like Strange too. He's stepping into a role. True. We saw Trevor Lawrence target the tight end a lot. So Coach and I have been buying Strange everywhere. So totally with you, Hoff.
Yeah.
It's close. It is close. I think I prefer Tucker Kraft, but it is close. I mean, 707 yards at the tight end position is nothing to scoff at, which Tucker Kraft had last year. Now, Brenton Strange didn't have a full season as a starter last year, and they didn't bring any competition in. And for what it's worth, Tucker Kraft does have a capable tight end next to him. So while Brenton Strange doesn't really have much competition,
that particular debate is one of those things where I'll either go to war and I'll argue to the death, or it's just I see the other guy's perspective. It's not enough for me to be like, you're wrong. This is why. So I think it's that close. I think Matt kind of alluded to it. It's close. Matt even said, him and Coach are buying Strange in other places. So unfortunately, we're not going to have a big juicy argument here, but I would take Strange over Kraft. But if it turned out the other way, would I fall out of my chair? No, not at all.
Okay. Yeah, I think the thing with the only other pushback I'll give on Kraft, Matt, at the 208 is I acknowledge my delusionalness with Terrence Ferguson. But I see the upside with Terrence Ferguson. I see. I mean, is there a world where Mason Taylor, Ferguson, Arroyo, or Fannin are top 5 guys, 5, 6, 7? Do you see a world where any of them can have a season that's top 5?
Ferguson is in a really good spot. So I think if you told me he was the guy that got 11 touchdowns, I'd say, okay, maybe. But the other guys, no. I'm not placing any bet on Justin Fields to produce any type of elite tight end. I don't care what we're talking about here. Elijah Arroyo has the athleticism to be a really good player. That's a bet on Sam Darnold. Can it happen? Maybe, but I would not bet top 5. That's high praise. I mean, you're going to have Bowers, McBride for sure, Laporta, Hawkinson, Kittle. Like, there's just too many names, man.
Sure. No, I get it. I get it. I just maybe it's better phrase to say, do you think any of those guys have more upside than Kraft? Is Kraft
Terrence
a safe
Ferguson.
option? Okay.
Kraft is a safe option. Terrence Ferguson is the one guy where I can see the path where if you told me at the end of the year he was the Sam Laporta winner, where we kind of saw him get drafted and say, well, maybe, because let's not forget Michael Mayer was being drafted ahead of Laporta. Like that was common. That happened a lot.
Yeah.
No,
sure.
Okay. All right. So we'll move to Hoff in 1 second because let's grab this question and then we'll go to Hoff. 420 RZA said Dynasty rookie draft 12-man half-point PPR SuperFlex tight end. Who are you taking at the 105? Tet or Judkins? I'll let one of you guys answer first because obviously my answer is Tet, but let's hear from you two.
My answer is going to be Tet as well. I think the targets, and Pete's going to say the same thing. He's kind of alluded to it already, multiple times. I think the targets are going to be there for Tet. I get some of the criticism around Tet, but I think in this situation that he's in, we'll find out the hard way if that's a reality as far as, him giving up on certain routes or, whatever the case may be. But I'm going to go Tet in this spot. I'll take that catch radius and I'll see where it takes me. So that's where I would go. But and again, the targets are going to be there, even though I don't like the Adam Thielen slander. I am 41. It does hurt me a bit. So
sorry, I removed my AARP reference.
There you go. Appreciate that.
By the way,
I would go Tet too. By the way,
you'll probably do it next week, but whatever. It's fine.
I will.
Today is Thursday, and I gotta say this week flew by.
Didn't fly by for my bitch ass who had COVID all week. Felt like I was in prison.
Hoff, send a super chat to Hoff if you feel if you want to feel bad for him for being sick this week with COVID. Maybe $1 or $2. Just to show him a little love, or just a comment. Just a comment or something. NXT, which I know who this is. It's Nate. He said, just run one more mock. We ran 3. You missed all 3. We doing one more mock. Kyle says, are we doing one more mock? I don't know if we're going to fill. I mean, we're at the 2-hour mark. I'll run one more mock if we get enough people to say that they're going to fucking draft. But I just don't know if we're going to get enough people to fill.
I don't know if I'll be there.
I mean, we have 3 here.
I gotta go, guys.
I'll do it.
Y'all have fun.
I was gonna say I don't know.
Where the fuck you going? Where are you going?
Hey, gotta.
What? Dude, the last 2 nights you were a half hour in. You're just starting.
Yeah, that is true.
No, you're true. You're not wrong.
How about that? Look, we'll be back tomorrow. Hoff, before we leave, just give us your guy that you want to buy. Who is a veteran that you're currently buying at the moment?
See, here's the thing: are we buying him for Dynasty? We're buying him in general.
We're buying him for Dynasty. We're not buying him for redraft. We're talking Dynasty.
I'm doing smash and grab job 1 year. I'm taking a veteran, going 1 year.
Don't tell me Travis fucking Kelce.
No.
Is it Kelce?
No, it's not Kelce. I'd go with a James Conner on a 1 year, on a 1 year spot. Benson came in last year and everybody was like, oh God, Benson's going to be the newest thing. The last 2 years, James Conner is one of 4 running backs to have 10 or more games of 100 yards rushing. He's also been one of the better running backs in fantasy football. Even last year, if I pull this up here, if you take a look at this, he's had 4 games with 20 or more points, 12 games with 10 or more points. So, I mean, and what was that? Here, he scored 10 or more points in 61.5% of his games. He's not the worst second running back to have. If you're focused on that, and that's kind of the disclaimer. If you're focused on other positions, if you're focused on wide receiver, focus on tight end, focus on quarterback, if you just need a second running back, just again, because I know everybody dynasty, everybody want to act like they have all their players are 22 or 23 years old. That's it. You got a couple old guys on the roster that got to help you out. I think James Conner, smash and grab job, fill in valiant effort, get him out of there after 1 year. That's it. Done. I like it. 1 year wonder. Give it to me.
Would you take James Conner over Xavier Legette?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also depends on a lot of these depends on what your team needs, but on the surface, yes.
I don't care.
On the surface, yes. On the surface, yes.
I would take Connor in almost every situation. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sold on Legette. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to have some gains, but I don't think he's going to be a guy. Connor, the 207.
Then I go 207.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
All right. So Connor's worth a late second for you, and that's fine. I think that's the beauty. There's one more question here, two more questions, and then we'll get out of here. I think that's the beauty that I'm in a situation where I took best player available. My running backs going into the draft were literally Najee Harris and Nick Chubb and McCormick and Alexander Madison. Now I drafted RJ Harvey and Quinshon Judkins, and I drafted a late round flyer rookie at the end. But my team's good enough to contend. I have really good receivers, good tight ends, good quarterbacks. My running backs just are really bad. James Conner is a guy that you could buy if you feel like you're in a spot where you can compete. James Conner, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be good this year still. I mean, I'm with you there.
I think this is his last year to be able to make that statement.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I think Trey Benson's going to get some burn.
Sure.
I think he's going to get some burn for sure.
I'm going to pull up. Would you keep talking? I want to pull up their weekly share. Yeah. Well, their share, running back share. But go on.
Now, Harris says Caleb Johnson or RJ Harvey. And then he says contender, but don't need immediate production. Yeah, I'm going to go Harvey too. Javonte Williams had 70 targets in Denver's offense last year, and Javonte Williams could not run through a fucking highway with nobody on it. I don't know how the best way to put it. I mean, I love Javonte. I'm a Broncos fan, so you can call the bias when you see it, but I'll take Javonte just for the upside. I think Najee Harris saw the most touches of any running back in the NFL since 2021 to last season. And Najee Harris was no better than a mid running back too during that time. With the most touches, Najee Harris is a better pass catcher than Caleb Johnson. So to me, they didn't get better at the quarterback position. You could say they invested in the running back and maybe you could say they invested at the offensive line and maybe you're hoping that they take the next step, but we have no idea what the quarterback situation is. I'm assuming Aaron Rodgers is going to sign at some point. I'm going to take RJ Harvey. I mean, when you look at Sean Payton's running backs, his RB1s have all been top 10 outside of last year in PPR for fantasy. So I'm going to take RJ Harvey. I mean, maybe it seems short-sighted to some. I don't really care about him being 24 years old. This is a guy that outside of the last 2 years, he had a combined 128 rushes in his career before the last two seasons. So there's not a ton of tread on the tires. And I'm not playing Dynasty looking 6 years out for his second contract. I think people are fucking nuts with that shit.
I
think it's insane.
Can we be real here? Can we be real? I understand. I know Matt left, so maybe it's okay that I say this. Maybe Matt would murder me for saying this. But when we look at Dynasty leagues, and I get it, there are leagues that last a long time. I'm in a keeper league. It's not Dynasty league, but I'm in a keeper league that's going on for about 17 years now. But
it's pretty good.
It is. No, it's great. It's incredible. I've been GM the whole time. It's them and my kids is why I have gray hairs. But how long do some of these dynasty leagues really actually last? Which
It's
is
about
kind of
3
what you're
years.
alluding. You know,
It's about
that's what I'm
3
saying.
years.
So for somebody to be like, well, I don't want James Conner because he's old. I'm gonna get all these guys who are fucking 20 years old right now. Like,
Yeah.
well, guess what? In 3 years, you're gonna lose every single year of your league and
And then
have
it's gonna
nothing to
fold.
show for it.
Well, that's gonna fold. Yeah,
Right. You have nothing
I
to show for it.
look, I think Dynasty is fun. I love talking about this. We're doing Dynasty right
Oh,
now.
balls.
We're in Dynasty season in general, but
Yeah, I'm not trying to knock on the dynasty community when I say that. I'm just
no, but I think it's
speaking in a
unrealistic sometimes. I mean, even if a league doesn't fold after 3 years. We're talking about the running back position. I am not projecting, people. I had a guy sitting there saying I gave up on Ashton Genty, who's a guy that could be my running back in Dynasty for 10 fucking years. Okay, fine. I mean, sure, Travis Ashton Genty could certainly be your running back for 10 years, but there's so much that happens. I mean, so much. Travis Hunter tears. I mean, how do I say Travis Hunter? Ashton Genty tears his ACL or pops an Achilles this year, and everything is completely like so much happens on a year-to-year basis. And I'm not saying that we have to project on what we know. We can't project injuries and random shit like that. But the point is, like, a 24-year-old running back, yes, Tyrone Tracy, 5th-round running back, guy that's 26 right now. Sure, I can understand that he's old and he went really late in the draft. So sure, I'm going to use age and draft capital as a reason to fade him. But when we're talking about a guy that the Broncos took like 2nd round, I mean, that's heavy draft capital, and he's 24 years old. I mean, we're sitting here acting like he's going to be a guy after 2 years that you got to move because he's super fucking old. I mean, I just think people get so hung up on the age with these players. And I'm playing to win, man. Like, I'm not playing for the best roster I can take a screenshot of and put it on Twitter so people see how fucking sexy my roster is because of all the cool prospects and the young
he
age.
knows all
like,
the young guys. He must know what he's doing.
yeah, I mean, that's the shit that drives me crazy. Like, I'm in it to win it, man. Like, I'm not like I just think sometimes it's all such a it's all such a show sometimes, man.
I'm only laughing because the league you started, my team, if I don't win in the first 2 years, I'm fucking cooked.
That's what I'm saying, though. But like,
Yeah,
I'm
but that's
fine
what I'm
with
saying.
but,
I'm in it to win it. You know?
and now, granted, like it depends on the league, right? If you're in a league with like guys that are gonna stick it out, and your buddies, okay, then maybe that's a little bit different. You operate differently. But like, there are leagues I've joined with like content creators or other people on Twitter that are just fantasy guys that play. I don't fucking know if this is going to last. I've seen plenty of leagues with content creators that fold very quickly. Like, I mean, it happens. I see some content creators that are doing startups like 9 and off season, and it's like, you're telling me you're in all these leagues still after I've like, it's just unrealistic. So rant over. Let's get to Kyle real quick and then we'll close out.
Yeah,
Kyle
I do have one more question for you after we're done with Kyle.
Well, let's get the
no. I was gonna say it's got nothing to do with what we were talking about. It was more of a
So Kyle says, are we selling AJ Brown or holding him? I don't think there's necessarily a reason to sell him right now. I'm just pulling up really quick to see some recent trades.
You can look that up. I'm gonna say I am holding on AJ Brown because my anticipation is that Saquon Barkley, not to say that all of a sudden he's gonna fall off a cliff, but I don't know if I can guarantee on him getting that exact workload that he got the year prior. I think that AJ Brown is going to improve on what we saw last year. Mind you, he was injured early on in the season, so I'm not selling on AJ Brown. I'm not buying into the whole not getting along on the team. I think if that was really a thing, which really was him and Jalen Hurts, if that was really a thing, he would have been gone this offseason. But he's not. He's still there. So I'm not really worried about it. I'm not selling on him. I'm gonna hold him. I'm gonna ride it out.
So I tweeted this yesterday because there was discussion on Twitter about AJ Brown being worth a second round pick. AJ Brown in 8 of 13 games last year was a wide receiver 1-8.
I would have said yes to that, by the way, though, before you go on.
I know.
What's the matter with you?
I had too many beers tonight. That's why. AJ Brown was a wide receiver 1 in 8 of 13 games last year. That's good enough for 61% of the games, which was top 10 in the NFL for wide receivers in fantasy that finished as a wide receiver 1 on a weekly basis, percentage wise. I mean, so I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm not stacking Jalen Hurts and Saquon with AJ. I understand the risk there. But to me, I just think people get tired and they want the shiny new toy. I think that's the problem sometimes. People want the shiny AJ Brown.
That's what we just talked about pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I think you make a great point in that Saquon Barkley had so many touches last year. Do we see a guy who's had a lot of health issues staying healthy in years past finally have it catch up to him? Possibly. But I also think AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts continue to build on chemistry, right? And this offense continues to get better. So yeah, I'm not selling AJ Brown unless I'm getting a really good offer, a really good deal. I think AJ Brown, I'm buying him honestly if people are down on him because, like I said, he's a guy that. I mean, he's giving you more than 50% of games as a wide receiver 1, which is more than most of the guys that are ranked in the top 12 in Dynasty are giving you on a week-to-week basis. That's just the truth. So, I mean, in an offense that likes to run the football, the fact that he was 8 out of 13 games was a wide receiver 1, I think is pretty impressive when you look at how much people kind of knock him. But I think that's going to do it. It's Thursday. We might go live tomorrow for Friday.
I wanted to ask you in closing.
Oh, yes.
And this doesn't require a ton of thought. It's just it dawned on me when you're talking about dynasty teams and how many you have and so on and so forth. So don't worry, I'm not going to bog your head here. How many leagues were you in? Don't count best ball because best ball is like, you do 30,000 of them. How many leagues were you in last year? Ish. And are you scaling back?
So I was in about 13 last year, 13, 14. I think my rule is no more than 20 managed leagues. And sometimes you get suckered into doing a lot of
charities.
You get suckered in, right? We're going to go to the expo. We're going to probably draft in one of those. At least one.
Hopefully you can get yourself into the actual
which that could be a possibility this year. And then you have Scott Fish will be in that one. So that's 2. And then plus, a couple main leagues I do every year for redraft. And then you got your dynasty. So I'm usually somewhere around 10 to 15. And I don't hate it. I know sometimes people feel like too many leagues sometimes. I think if you have a league that you have really good friends and really a lot of passion, and it's just a really good camaraderie, that's good. And having that in conjunction with a couple other leagues, the other leagues are kind of just like you kind of like, all right, if I'm not doing great in these, I kind of understand it. I'm going to keep fighting, but it is what it is. I'm not going to get super upset. But there's always that 1 or 2 leagues that you really, really grind your gears over because you really just can't stand fucking losing in. And so I think that's what matters. But you don't want to take the joy out of this too. I think sometimes people play in leagues with other people, especially in Dynasty, and they're just not fucking happy. If you're not happy playing, just stop playing. There's nothing. People feel like Dynasty is it's like a blood ritual. Like you're just like you can't leave because you're gonna offend somebody or you don't want to fuck it up forever. Like it's like, dude, like just leave, man. Like, this is supposed to be fun. Like, if this is bothering people so much, then just leave, dude. Like, what good is it? We're playing fantasy football, man, and like we're sitting here. We're sitting here getting upset about like leagues that just like it feels like a chore to participate in. Then just fucking leave, man. Who cares?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I've been in leagues like that, and I've don't. You said I've left. Yeah, so, yeah, I hear you.
People will move on. They'll find more owners, and if they can't find more owners, they're probably not a great commissioner in the first place anyway.
Just realizing my daughter never texted me about her track meet. That son of a bitch. I gotta give her a call after this. I am in what for? Well, she's probably made on podcasting with you. She's got heat with you, as you know. I'm in what for? I'll be in 10 or less leagues this year, which was what I shot for last year. I mean, best ball, I'm in 38. Best ball, I'm already in like 14.
Yeah, best ball doesn't count.
Best ball doesn't count. Best ball.
I'm in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm in 6. I'm in 5 Dynasty currently.
Just by the way, I heard a good platform if you're in the area. Fast Draft.
Fast Draft. Good place to draft. We'll probably start drafting on that soon here for some best ball. I'm on 5 plus 2 because they're my home league. 5 plus 5 for Dynasty, and then my home league that I've been doing for years that I run, and then my dad's league that I've been doing for years. That's 7. So 7, and then I always leave a little bit of wiggle room maybe to do a couple other leagues, which Scott Fish plus the Expo will bring me up to 9, and then I have maybe a little wiggle room to add 1 or 2 more. That's
which I'll be traveling out to Philly.
Yes, we'll do that. That'll be fun.
Drafting in New York, traveling to Philly.
Yes, but that's gonna do it for us, guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in. This was more of a chill. We haven't had a chill live in a while. It's been a little bit, but we're excited for the off season. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys. Oh man, I don't have the outro loaded up.
When are we seeing them?